Black women anywhere in the world face a lot of challenges.
Females are few in academics. Females in academics have peculiar challenges. We have prospects.
A woman that knows her strength, you don't have to struggle. So around the world, women now have more influence over decisions that affect their life. And I think we should now start using that power and leverage that we have now.
We need to forge our own path. We need to create our own path. We need to create our solutions. And it is only us that can do it. In this room, we have 12 higher educational institutions represented. We have Babcock University, they are our host, Covenant University, University of Lagos, Adeleke University, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Christland University, Onabisi Onebanjo University, Tai Solari University of Education, Mountaintop University, and Federal Poly Ilaro. We also have representation from the National Center for Technology Management, NACITEM, and myself from the Glasgow University. So thank you all so much.
On behalf of the Office of Research, I want to welcome every one of us.
So why have we convened a conference around females in academia? And number one, I believe, and I genuinely believe, is in the best interest of Africa to try to forge strong relationship in terms of research. And we need to also be leading in our research. But also, I was amazed by the stark gender disparities between male and female academics in Africa, and especially the underrepresentation of women in critical leadership roles, both in the senior professorial level or in the management positions as well. According to Education Sub-Sahara Africa, a research that was carried out 2 years ago, it does suggest that women constitute only 24% of academic positions in Sub-Sahara Africa, only 24. So what that means is that the remaining 76% are male, right? Where are our women?
This chart shows the number of female and male vice chancellors that we have in Nigerian universities. The females, the red, and then male, blue. I got this from NUC just last week. You can see the number of, the ratio of female to male vice chancellors in federal universities, the same with the state universities, the same with the private universities.
There's also underrepresentation in the UK, and that's just to say that the issue is not just an African problem. Now, as at 2022, we only had 35 Black women professors in the entire UK. The statistic isn't looking good both home and abroad, and there's nobody who is coming to save us. There's no big blue button there to press to change these things. It's only me and you that can change what these statistics we are looking at. And the conference that we have here is to reflect on these challenges, but also to co-produce potential ways in which we can forge our path and our way forward. Now, according to African Educational Research Database that was developed between 2017 and 2019 by Cambridge University, it was found that out of the 2,510 African-led studies that was analyzed, only 32% of them were led by women. Do you know the implication of that? It means that issues that are important to us are not making it to the research agenda. It means that our perspective, our understanding, our concerns, our needs are being undermined. And why is that the case? So we need to really have this discussion to understand why there's this gender disparity and the implication that this is having on us. And if you look at it within the policy space, most politicians tend to make decisions based on evidence. And if there's no scientific evidence to make decisions that favor women, it means that we are already at a disadvantage. So we women, we have specific challenges, we have specific issues, and we have the lived experience that we can bring to it through our research in such a way that will speak truth to power to our politicians to be able to make the decisions that they need to make. terms of undergraduate degree, the disparity isn't very much, right? So we are actually recruiting fairly equally in terms of male and female at the undergraduate level. But as from that point, there seems to be a significant change. And that is where perhaps institutions need to look at. How can we support women from the undergraduate level to the master's level to the PhD level such that they will even desire to go into academia as a career? And we are hoping that the conversation that we're going to have today will help towards providing the solution that we need to begin to address some of the gaps that we see. And for me, these statistics raise two fundamental questions. And the first one is around what factors shape women's experiences in higher educational institutions here in Nigeria, but also in Africa at large. And the second question for me is how do societal power relations shape our self-understanding? Because most of these issues boil down to how we identify ourselves, how we understand who we are, and what we aspire to become. The second question draws my attention to Michael Foucault's interpretation of power. And what he says is that power is not merely repressive, but also productive. So we can't sit there and feel like victims all the time. But we need to stand up and see how we can use the little power we have to make the change that we want to see.
To navigate this difficult terrain, you really need someone, or you need some people to, ginger you on. For some of us have traveled that journey through trial and error. When it is through trial and error, it takes you longer. But when you have people around you to guide you because they've gone through that path before, it becomes easy and it becomes faster. So during this forum, we are going to be interacting, networking, and sharing experiences that will help us. Here we have seasoned professors, we have mid-career researchers, we have early career researchers. So we can learn a lot from one another. We can also share experiences.
So causes of glass ceiling for women have been categorized as individual, organizational, and societal. So these are the barriers that have been highlighted scientifically. So when you talk about societal barriers, they are some of the things subtle, like cultural cues. A girl is supposed to be a nurse, while a man is supposed to be a doctor. All those small things that you put, ideas that you put in our head. The same way we put men under pressure that a man should not cry. And you see men are so pressured, they cannot express themselves because a man is supposed to be strong. So that we have all those things, and it's not that men has it easy all the way. So those things are cultural, they are societal, and they put it in our mind, and most of the time we believe those things. So organizational barriers, I don't want a woman because I don't want somebody that will be pregnant and I will say wants to take maternity leave. So those things, people might not say it out, they might not freely say it out, but those are some of the hindrances. So a woman will come for an interview and you are asking her, or even with some of these industries, when you take a job, you can't be pregnant for 1 year. So individual barriers is how do you behave? Are you timid? Have you believed what the world has told you about yourself that you can't? So those are the most limiting aspects. All the other ones are external. There are ways of dealing with them, but the internal ones are the most difficult ones to break.
Challenges with females in sciences, and someone's able to identify challenges that they have with sciences, especially females. She says they cannot deal with like DNA and things like that, and you have to stay like long hours in the laboratory, and a man-owned laboratory. And of course, a woman is there researching till late night, let's say 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and so all kind of things are insinuated, and so it's a big problem for women researching for that long, but yet you're just doing your job. Sleeping even in the lab. I mean, you can imagine, you have a husband in the house, there's another man there, you're working on research together, God will only clear your name. It's that bad. So
during my PhD program, I'm always in the lab from morning. I once get married, I was not working. So I had the whole time for my PhD. A man would tell me, see you, wearing lab coats, carrying test tube, better go and marry. Yes, those words can bring one down. Yes, but if one is focused, at times I will get home, I will call my mom. My mom will say something, "Aruwo ọjà nìyẹn." That those are noise from the market, that you face the person you are buying from. Just be yourself.
The issue with the dynamic and evolving technology. Okay, so you do your study, you come up with this beautiful finding, and then in 2 days, it is not useful. And so you have to start all over again. So it's a problem and it's kind of challenging. And so you keep just working and then all of that. And then also not having access to sophisticated tools to be able to do your proper findings and then to confirm results was also a major challenge.
Sometimes you can't take our culture away from us, but whether we like it or not, women were still saddled with the responsibility of taking care of the children. And so when you have to take off to like collect data and something like that for like quite a number of days, it's very challenging, and where to put your children, especially these women who have to even travel and leave some babies. So it's actually a big problem.
For those of us in the childbearing stage, how did our professors manage this? It's a serious problem, and now they will give promotion criteria. You go for conferences, and you have to carry two eyes. I have to carry my daughter along for postdoc, for conference house. Is the carrying is wala, carry pap, carry hot water, carrying, I'll wake up. Yes, I know what I feel. Sometimes I like, who sent me message? Yes, these are things, challenges, and
Yes. Okay.
when we have conferences, when we are to go for conference, maybe in any part of Nigeria, we don't have crutches or small place where we can keep children. Virtually, I'm the only one that meets my friend that usually, like by fire by force, I will carry my child and we will go together. Others like, who will I leave the children to come here? My mom had to travel from Ilorin down to Ogun State to help me to come and say, and that's how she's been doing for postdoc. She had to follow me to Germany. See, sometimes at the point I felt like resign, maybe I will get another job. It's really draining. How were you able to manage raising small children? You do homework, children sometimes make you feel guilty. A day my daughter told me, say, you work in the office, you work at home, work.
How do we help women that does not have a supportive husband and they are in academics? Like I have someone now that she cannot come for this kind of conference because her husband will not allow her. So how do we help those ones?
Information was another thing, because someone was saying there's no funding, but says actually there's funding. We get funding, but we don't even know where to get them or access it. And she gave an example of a women group, research group, but what they do is just felicitate when they meet and they just eat and all that, but nobody's really talking about research. So the funding, she was saying, like, you got the funding are there, especially for women, but you don't even know where or how to even access them. So that's another problem.
One of the other things that is on the issue of paper reviewing, that most times that reviewers give conflicting opinions, and so those are part of the limitations to research. Then you get a lot of no's, and the issue of open access coming from low middle income countries, and the issue of paying APC, article processing fees, charges, and these are part of, and sometimes racism, because any paper coming from this part of the world, this climate, they feel the stereotypic, they have a kind of bias towards, they feel that you have not done the needful, or you don't have the capacity to be able to carry out such research, and they try to water down what you have done and give two reviewers blind review, giving contradicting opinion. And at the end of the day, we agree that in such instances that you can write the chief editor to lay your complaints.
Let's talking about the fact that we are not empowered. We are empowered because if we go on saying keep empowering women, then we'll disempower our men. So there's a lot of opportunity for women now. We have to start balancing, and that's the why gender is very important, because gender is not about who you are. It's about equality, whether you're a man or a woman. I don't believe in anybody disadvantaging somebody else to give me an advantage. It will not be the same quality, but I will not sacrifice gender for merit. It will still not be fair to the men. So you still have to pull your weight, and that's the way it is. So that it's not like it's handed to you. Because if it's handed to you, then you have to keep defending it with your personality. That's why you see people that don't deserve a position, they're always very cantankerous.
And one thing that we lack as women is time. But then to be able to improve yourself, you need to find that time and to study. And even when you have the time, finding someone to be able to take care of your children so that you can attend conferences and seminars is difficult, but you can take advantage of technology. You can learn on Coursera, you can learn on EDX, you can even go to YouTube and watch videos of seminars and conferences that have been held while you are washing plates, while you are cooking, while you are doing those mundane activities. So you can learn, you can improve yourself while through technology, pending when your kids grow and you now have time to travel and to do all that. Then you also need to take advantage of online conferences, because there are certain conferences that you can present your papers, you can attend online. You don't need to be there physically. So depending when the kids grow up, you don't just stay put and not do anything. You can always take advantage of those ones so that you can improve yourself.
I want to talk about how do you cope when you are raising children. At that point, you have to prioritize your life. What I tell my younger colleagues that are ready to listen, I said there's some opportunities you don't even apply for, because if you do and they give you and you know what your home is like, you might find yourself where you don't want. So I tell them every 2 or 3 years, make sure you get something to do in a short space, and that is it. So I will just tell you, because when you are raising your children and you are not there at that time, let me tell you, you cannot go back again. So you might not be able to have many papers, but your children are there, and then when they are grown, you can go all you want. Thank you. Setting priorities was important. I shared my story before that after marriage, there was no child. I had opportunities and I refused to take them. And my husband would say, go. I said, no, I am not going because of you. So I didn't take many of those opportunities because I asked myself, so what after? So what after? And then when my daughter came, husband very supportive. When I had to travel, he leaves his job and follows me. So when I'm busy, he's the one taking care of the baby. To having an unsupportive husband. Now, if you are married, you are married though. That is why, for those of our colleagues who are yet to marry, look very well. Shine your eyes. Because the man or the woman is not going to change. Many times we have seen evidences that a man is going to be abusive. We ignore it, thinking he will change. If unfortunately we end up in such, we will have to look for how do we manage the situation. Now, COVID has brought a lot of virtual experiences. So your friend can join this virtually if there is a link. So she can explore some of those conferences that she can attend that are virtual. She will continue to build herself up remotely and she will still make it. I joined the university and within a year I had an opportunity to go to the US for a 3-month program. My baby, my first child, she's a doctor now, to the glory of God. She was just 5 months. And they said, look, this program is targeting female academia in the faculty, early career. And, I was just the fit person for I didn't even say anything at home. I just said, I have a baby, I can't go. I told my dean then I could not go. Do you know what he did? He reached out to my husband. There were no phones then, but I think one day the guy came to pick me up. I don't know how. Prof was downstairs and they just got talking. When I brought my bags and came there, I found them talking, so I moved away. And then we were going home and he said, did you mention anything to me at home? And, Prof was scolding me saying, oh, give your wife an opportunity because it's for the benefit of you yourself, your family, even that child should leverage on that opportunity later. Whatever you do to support your wife, he really spoke to him. But fortunately, I was able to say, we can turn back and let us go and ask Prof whether, I complained. I didn't say, I just told him I could not go. My baby was young. And because Prof spoke with my husband and he respected him a lot, my husband liked, my dean at the time. He was the one who said, you must go. I didn't go for 3 months. So I said, why are you pushing? I'm not going for, but there was another shorter 14-day program also to the US. I said, hey, 14 days. I said, provided Mama would agree to come. One of the grandmas must be there. He spoke with my mom himself. He went to pick her, so she was home. Then I went. As we were coming back, some said, oh, they want to stop here, they want to go there. I came back straight, 14 days on the dot.
The system is actually trying to address inequality gap. But somehow we are not focusing on what exactly is the root cause of this problem. Can we have systems that accommodate us? Yes. So what if we have offices that have crèches downstairs? What if we have places that allow us to bring our nannies around? So sometimes the system needs to adjust to help us as women retaining that femininity, being able to do the thing as women, but at the same time, having a system that accommodates us.
The senior female gender in academia should make it a point of duty to mentor the younger female gender in academia.
Mentoring is a two-way street. It's a reciprocal relationship. So it's a kind of give and take. It's a relationship where you are open to opportunities. Somebody takes time to sit down and read what you have written, for example, to make comments, to suggest improvements. I've had somebody say to me before, and it happens sometimes. She didn't know I would hear anyway, but I heard that her wahala is too much. She will cross things, draw arrows to move this here. By the time the papers come back, I learned best from the people who did that to me. So that maybe because that was the way I learned. I was upset with senior colleagues that I would give papers to, and they would not even write anything there. So maybe because that's the way, some of us, and there are other people that you will do that and they'll say, oh, thank you so much. Initially when I saw the comments everywhere, it was a bit, but when I sat down and looked at, so that's why I'm saying that nobody is going to sit down to do your work for you. Many of us did not even have that opportunity at all. But when an effort is made, you look at it. If there are things that are not clear, you come back and all that. Through that, the person sees that, okay, as between us, things are working well, isn't it? Then such a person can open up other opportunities. Because when you refer somebody to someone else or to another opportunity, you yourself, you're on trial.
In conferences like this, it's easier for us to just come and stay in our cocoon, try to achieve 1 or 2 things while we participate in the conference. But at the end of this conference, you need to be able to have people's numbers, people's emails, know people in your field. And immediately after the conference, send out an email reminding them, thanking them for attending, appreciating them. Let it be in their email boxes there. Whenever they think of something, they might be able to trace it back to you.
Teaching should not be from just books, what we read or what we have read like 20 years ago, but we should be able to relate it to the problems in our environment, look at the researches, the solutions we have been able to prefer, and then carry it further to our classes, to have dynamism in our teaching.
The support of colleagues is very important. We need to support ourselves, women supporting each other, because there is this mindset that women don't support each other. But we think is a wrong mindset, because women do support each other. And aside from the women, how do you support each other as a woman? You can share your lecture notes, you can share guides. If you have juniors, you can take them with you to class. That way you reduce the possibility of them having to learn and struggle on their own.
It is a mandate for our researches, our teaching, and all that we do as female academia is incomplete and is imbalanced without returning or giving back to the society.